Recently, I took some time off to head up north and explore nature. Instead of telling you about my trip, the next 90 seconds will be an audio-visual composition of my experiences. If you want to fully immerse yourself in the video, put on some headphones and enjoy. This week I wanted to try something different and start this video off with a short cinematic sequence. This entire video was shot up north at my parents' cottage, and it was powered solely by sound design. There was no music, audio tracks, or voiceovers at all. I used about 85 different sounds, some unnatural and some artificial, that were layered on top of each other in order to create the atmosphere and the ambiance of my story. Even if you take out the visuals, the sound design alone can create an emotional cadence that can build up, which can add pacing and depth to your story in a way that visuals can't do by themselves. Whenever I think about nature, I always envision myself walking through a forest, listening to the birds chirping, the leaves rustling, and just enjoying a peaceful day without any people shouting or cars driving by. I find that noise from the city can take away from the whole experience. It's nice to just listen to the water on the lake, splashing against the canoe while you paddle from side to side. Something about listening to the sounds in nature I find very soothing, and this is what inspired me to create this piece on exploring the outdoors. We are midway through July, and I realized that I've been so caught up in my work the last few weeks that I haven't spent any meaningful time outside. Now, I'm not saying I'm some kind of anti-civilization person. I am actually quite the opposite. I love the city, I love the people, the technology, and all the great things that come with being a contributing member of society. However, I honestly believe it's important to take a step back from time to time, to get away from everyone and just explore nature. This past year, I have been focused on improving all aspects of my life. And what I've come to realize is that the most beneficial part of this process for me is trying to live a balanced life. Don't get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. These words are so simple, but what I love about this quote is that the message is so clear. Everyone nowadays, and this is myself included, we are all caught up in this idea of trying to get ahead in life. More hours, more work, more overtime, and it feels like everything we do has to be some kind of side hustle that brings in money, or else we're not being productive. This is why I decided to take a break from my work and take a few days off to head up north and relax, which was absolutely amazing. I spent the first 2 days catching up with my parents, going for a walk, swimming, and even playing with some of the wildlife that lives on their property. After those first 2 days, though, I felt like a new man. I woke up with all kinds of inspiration and creative ideas that I wanted to just go out and film with my camera. I felt like I had all this pent up energy that was finally being released into the world. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's important to work hard, but at the same time, it's equally important to take a break in order to take care of your mental health, to reset your mind, search for mental clarity, discover what relaxes you but inspires you at the same time. And I can't think of anything better than exploring nature. The sights, the sounds, the experience as a whole. If you know a place or a spot you can go to, I highly recommend taking some time off to reflect and ask yourself, what is important to me? Which is a simple question that a lot of the time has a not so simple answer. And when I asked myself this, I soon realized that I absolutely love videography and storytelling. Even though the whole point of this trip was to get away from my work, all it took was 2 days off to fully recharge my batteries, and all of a sudden I had this urge and desire to just go out and film my surroundings and tell a story and capture these moments. And something about listening to the animals running around, the wind blowing through the trees, or the campfire crackling at night, gave me this idea that there was a story to be told here, and I could tell it in a super creative way. When I was thinking of a name for this video, I started to wonder if there are any actual scientific benefits to being in nature. Now, the answer to this question seems fairly obvious. Of course, there has to be a multitude of physical benefits associated with being outside, like, duh, right? But what are they? Because you always hear people from older generations, like our parents, say things like, oh, in our day, we used to always be outside. Or when we were a kid, we played outside all day, we were never inside, and that's why we grew up so healthy. So I did a bit of research online, and I was completely overwhelmed by the amount of articles that listed the health benefits associated with being in nature. Of course, the majority of them we all know, like an increase in vitamin D, exercise, cardiovascular health, that kind of stuff. But what really caught my attention was the effect on our mental health and well-being. Spending time in nature can reduce stress levels, lower blood pressure, enhance immune system functions, increase your self-esteem, reduce anxiety, and even in some ways improve your mood, which all sound absolutely amazing. For sure, everyone in the world could use a little less stress in their lives. The only tough part is, how do we know if we are getting these benefits? If you see your doctor, for example, you can get tested for vitamin D deficiency, blood pressure, your body weight, your BMI, all of that. But how do you know if your self-esteem is improving? How do you measure anxiety or quantify an increase in your mood? These are the things that we have to explore for ourselves. And whether you like it or not, this is a decision you need to make. No one can force you to put down your phone and make you go outside. The onus is on you. The decision of self-improvement and bettering your life is never easy. And I don't have depression, anxiety, or any of these mental health issues that unfortunately plague a lot of people today. But I do know with absolute certainty, my trip up north 100% made me feel better. It just did. There was no stress, no pressure, no confrontations or expectations from any people. It felt like this huge burden of society was lifted off my shoulders, and I could just be me.
It's okay if you can't get to a remote spot in nature. Sometimes all it takes is to just go outdoors, or even utilize the time from the long car ride to reflect and assess where you're currently at. I take my mental health and well-being very seriously, and I find myself constantly thinking about the future. I have no idea where I'm going to be 5 years from now or what I'm going to be doing. These things are completely out of my control. There is no way I could possibly know where I'll be in the future. I just can't. But the one thing you can control is the decision to unplug, to disconnect, which I think a lot of us can benefit from. And when you stop and think about it, it's kind of funny, being in the outdoors, because all you need to do to get there is just go out the door. Thanks for watching.